Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Sure you're all very excited for this afternoon, as am I. We have Gaggan Anand with us for what we're going to hope is a pretty unofficial chat. We want to make this freewheeling. I'm not going to talk too much at the beginning because I think you all know who he is. I think most of you have eaten at his restaurant. I had the opportunity to do that recently, and I, to be honest, had never had a fine dining experience. And it was a unbelievable culinary transformative time for me. I had a really great meal. We're here today to talk about how Gaggan is doing something quite strange. For somebody who has been so successful with what he's done, he's decided to stop doing it and to stop cooking the dishes that have made him so well known. Now, I don't know about you guys, but for myself, when I've done something successful in life, I like double down on that and keep doing that and making my way with that. But Gaggan, for some reason, doesn't want to do that. He's decided to stop cooking all these famous dishes, and he's going to try something new, which is he's going to cook for a much smaller number of people in the future, and we can talk a little bit about that. I'm fascinated by him as a character. I'm a journalist and an author, and I'm fascinated by him because of what I just said. I think people who transform themselves are inherently very interesting. He started out in Calcutta as a chef, and he quit the restaurant that he worked in because people were really kind of horrible to each other, and he didn't like that. Then he set up an industrial catering business for I think you, what was it, 5,000 people a day that you would feed?
Yeah, last I knew was about 5,000 people. So next so.
Right, 5,000 people a day, and he would feed curry rice to the workers at the local Pizza Hut in Calcutta. And then he decided that wasn't something he really wanted to do in life, so he moved on. He became a food consultant, moved to Bangkok, where he worked in a very successful restaurant, ended up training at an apprenticeship at El Bulli in Spain, and then, of course, in 2010 opened his restaurant, Gaggan, which over the last 12 years has done some really phenomenal things in food, which he'll now be stopping. So why are you ripping up the playbook?
Let me tell you something. First of all, before we start, if anybody whose glass is empty should leave this place right now, because this is supposed to be a very alcoholic night. Sorry, I'm not serving you any food because I want to make money on you. So I'm very apologetic about the no food service. Tom and we met about an hour back, and it was almost like this interview. We were just talking. So we did not structure this interview. So please, if I say something which offend your color, your country, your mother, your father, your cat, your dog, or somebody in your family, please take it as a joke. Okay. So I don't know. I mean, so many familiar faces, so I don't know what to talk about. But
well, why don't you start with just explaining the creative process? Okay, so you got bored with chicken tikka masala. You said, like, I'm never going to cook that again. No one's going to. And you get angry when people ask you about it. Then you came up with yogurt explosion, the spherified yogurt.
Yeah.
How much more inventing is there to do in food?
I mean, food is closest to humanity. Humans are. We can live without clothes. We wish we were. I mean, some of us. We cannot live without iPhones. Yeah, we cannot live. It's become an addiction. But if you look at, first thing we need to survive is food and water. And the only thing that makes us humans, apart from animals, is we do not eat in aggression. You look at a giraffe, you look at a monkey. It's not a cannibal, but it would eat with equal aggression a banana. Probably a lion would eat less aggressively to the dead animal. So if you look at humans, for us, if we eat something tasty, we feel good, we feel happy, we feel relaxed. When we drink, imagine yourself drinking like a animal in Tanzania. And before you drink, you're looking at, will I die before I drink, or will I die after I drink? And when we drink a glass of wine, we relax. So as a human, food is the most relaxing affair. And I understood that very early in my life. The only thing that I started doing with food was to act my child's play. A part of me is extremely rebellious when I say that is not because I am or how I look. It's because I don't know how to be in a society. I don't belong here. And yet I'm creating this fine dining experience for people who have fuck money. They have fuck money. They can buy me, my restaurant, everything, and still they cannot buy an experience out of me. So what do we do? How do I make that fuck money feel like he's a normal guy? And the person who's coming here to my restaurant, who must have saved 1 year's salary to be in my restaurant, equal. Because if we look at what was food, food was about a social affair on a table. And when we eat on a table, do we compare what we come from or we just eat? And for me, even if it's a fine dining experience, I want everybody to be equal on that floor. And that is how I created every dish from day one to now.
Is the future for you still going to be fine dining? I know during COVID, fine dining has had to think very hard about what it is, right? Because people couldn't come to restaurants for a long time. You, of course, moved here to Singapore and did this pop-up here. Is the future fine dining, or is it something else for you?
Well, I was waiting for this day, so Zaran and I were like coordinating. Okay, I'm coming. Yesterday, I almost missed my flight. I'll tell you that story later. Yeah. I was fucked. I mean, I was like, it is hilarious. But the reason we are in Singapore and the reason why we did this pop-up was I did not want to go below what I do as my art. When we did this restaurant, none of us did this, and I honestly tell you, the money you guys who have paid us or will be paying us in future is still not profitable. We are still not making money. We are just breaking even so that we can pay our staff salaries on time, and we can pay them the full salaries, and yet create that experience. Not doing burgers or not doing chicken tikka masala. And why I say this is because fine dining is an experience, and when we call it F&B, food and beverage personals, it's a personal experience. It's a very analog affair. It's about that charismatic experience, and I didn't want to give up, even if it was COVID.
Well, you did try for a while before moving to Singapore when you were in Bangkok, didn't you, to reduce the prices of menus at your restaurant to $140 for the tasting menu and to get it to more people. And it didn't work, or was it satisfying?
It ruined me. I mean, it just brought me down to zero because I went for my team. What happened was when I moved from my arrogant old Gaggan to the new arrogant Gaggan Anand, I mean, it's called Gaggan Arrogant. The Gaggan Arrogant move was, okay, I'll take 60 people, I'm fucking Robinson Crusoe or Joan of Arc, or I'll go take them, save the fucking humanity. Let's do a restaurant, fuck you all, put all my money. And then in 4 months, COVID came. And then I was left with a restaurant with no money, an angry ex-wife, and 60 people to pay. And I was like, okay, I said, COVID, okay, fuck it. Saw some news. They said, okay, this is going to be a short-term thing. Donald Trump was saying, don't wear a mask. I said, fuck it, it's going to be over. You know, we are just over. All those theories came in, but it never went. It went worse and worse and worse. So then we opened, most difficult thing was to put salt with the gloves. I still don't understand. I still don't understand that why people in restaurant can open their mouths, not wear mask, and we have to cook with mask. While if I could be having COVID cooking, but you don't be having COVID when eating. Who defines the law? So there are so many things that we need to logic. So then I was like, do I save my team? How do I do? So I kept losing restaurant after restaurant. I kept losing assets, but I did not lose my team. I lost 30-40% of them. And probably they were working with me because I had good money for them. And when we didn't have the money, they left us. But that guy there, and that VB there, and some of us, one suffering with COVID today, we are still with us for the last 10, 12, 9, 8 years, 6, 7 years. And when I see that, and that is what I think, I went for the team, I went for fine dining, and that's why I'm still surviving.
But you had a technical problem with COVID, people having to wear masks and all of that kind of thing, which hurts. But you also had the problem that your restaurant in Bangkok had become a pilgrimage site for people who loved food. People would come from all over the world to eat there, and that was an important customer base for you. And that dropped off overnight, didn't it? And you had to serve Thais and people who lived locally.
Yeah, it was a slap on my face because I was like so popular, so arrogant. 8 months waiting list, best restaurant in Asia with no Thais, and suddenly all the international tourists have gone, and then I was left with Thais, and then I said, shit, all they need is omakase. All they need is an expensive ingredient to show on the, and I didn't know how to cook with caviar. I still don't know how to cook with caviar. I don't even think caviar should be cooked.
Sorry, what are you saying? Are you saying that the Thai clientele wanted a certain kind of expensive ingredient?
It's everywhere. It's about this TikTok, social media, lovely Instagrammable post. And I knew how to make brain without a brain. I knew how to change an ordinary onion into the most delicious onion of your life. And that was cooking. To change the fate of a banana and make it to a chicken liver and look like a banana, and then a banana tastes like a chicken liver. I know how to fuck around. I don't know how to do simple food with lobster and caviar and uni.
And then you came to Singapore last year.
Yeah.
To start this residency here in the Mandala Club. And now you're going into your third phase of that, you're calling it, which is you're calling it Gaggan Anand's Greatest Hits.
Yeah, so during this, it's related, actually I didn't answer your question fully because I wanted to tell you the journey. So in that part, when I realized, I put my menu at 3,000 baht, that is about $100 US. And I tried doing everything because I wanted to pay the salaries and everything. And then with a very, I would say, uneducated government in Thailand and the policies they took, we were suffering, and then I had to leave the country to survive. And then we were planning this pop-up because I didn't want to give up fine dining. I didn't want to give up my team, and I was ready to lose everything. And then I realized when we did this pop-up for the first time, and thank you to all, because I had lost all my confidence. I had literally lost my confidence to cook. And because of Singapore, in that 2 hour that you sold 9,000 tickets, I don't know how the fuck they did it. And that brought me back. It was my hope of survival, but the confidence was incredible that I could still sell my seat in COVID times at a high price menu and do my fine dining and not be bullied. And thank you, Singapore, for that, for giving us the confidence, 1. 2, I realized this pop-up was going to be long because it's giving still my team salary. It's still giving us hope to survive. And thirdly, I fell in love with Singapore. We came here, we lived here as a tourist. 2 days, 3 days, eat the chili crab, eat the laksa, chili crab, burnt sand, or that, chili crab, laksa. So we keep doing that, right? And sometimes we go to Colin's bar, free some free cocktails. Thank you, Colin. And do some cocktail shake up so that we can have a free night again, some free rooms that he would give us. We did all that. But then when I realized, I said, shit, this country is almost like India. They put curry leaves in a beef pepper fry, which is Chinese cooked. And the Chinese guys from mainland China, how does he put curry leaves is no clue. And these things that have become a multicultural laksa noodle, which is a curry in a noodle bowl in a Chinese restaurant eaten by Indians, was this multicultural city that took me over with this magic in COVID times. So I realized that if I have 10 more years to cook, where do I cook? Where do I go? Do I go to Australia? I love it, but taxes are high. Do I go to America? Because there is Asian lives matter, but I am brown, I'm not black, so what the fuck? Which brown lives matter? I won't survive that. India, okay, God bless me. I mean, I'm running away from it with an Indian passport. Thailand, I don't think so. What do I do? Where do I go? I'm a nomad. I'm a hippie. And then I realized that this is the pop-up where I'll do maximum I can to reach my audience, stabilize it, and from now onwards, my future is that my name is Gaggan, which means clouds. Clouds or sky in Hindi. So I'm going to create a restaurant which does not belong to a geographical destination. Wherever I can, I will cook with 5 of us and have some fun. So my future from now, which is today where I'm telling you, is not a breaking news, it's not about nothing, it's just enjoy the show. So the my news is that I am not going to open any other restaurant apart from a restaurant where I have investment and my team and they carry my philosophy of food. But me as a chef will only cook in a place. Let's say if you have 4 terms or 4 semesters, every semester will be in a different city and only for 15, 20 people. So they can enjoy my show. I can show them a middle finger. They can show me a middle finger. I can strip and still not be stripped for my stars. Still not be obligated to awards to fill my restaurant. And never, ever feel that this person doesn't belong here or I don't belong here.
Has partly this come from the fact that when you get very successful at something and you've done it a lot, and for a long time, I know you're in your 40s, you've reached the upper levels of what you've got, your 2 Michelin stars. I know you don't care for the Michelin stars. That you actually end up getting tired doing the same thing, even if you've been very successful at it and people love it, and that you risk burning out.
I think that was one of the main reasons. So, I mean, I had responsibility to my team, so that's why we did this pop-up, because I could be selfish by just doing 3 people and doing a restaurant, but I had a responsibility of 25, 30 people, at least. So still I have that responsibility. So first is to make them secured. And next is that I want to do my personal thing, which is I do not want to run for fame. I want to do what I want to do and do it as my art. Because there are restaurants that you go to for food. There are restaurants that you go for experience. And to come to my restaurant is all about madness. Is to leave your inhibitions outside the door and enjoy. And my idea came from this Last Supper. So what if today is your last day and tomorrow you won't exist? So what is that last day? Every day could be your Last Supper. Every day would be that celebration. Every day could be Valentine's and every day could be your birthday. And when you come to my restaurant, it's about that experience that you come and it's only once in your life. And I am from this, my rock and roll attitude. So I want my art to become a concert in people's head as an analog experience, which means a human experience.
But you're no longer going to be cooking what you're calling your greatest hits that you're going to be serving now in Mandala for the next. So
yeah.
You're not going to be cooking Yogurt Explosion. You're not going to be cooking Lick It Up and all these things that got fame. So I've got a very quick question for you, which is you're aware of Prince, the pop musician, right?
Absolutely.
Now, after the 80s, he went into a very experimental phase, and his albums didn't sell. He actually, you remind me of him in some ways, right? He refused to sell his albums via normal record labels. He had Slave on his face.
Yes.
And it took until 2004 when he came back with Musicology that anyone started listening to him again, and he actually wanted to get... Do you risk doing what you're doing, sort of falling away from people and into a sort of more difficult place if you try to be too experimental and you move away from the mainstream?
So, yeah, it is. But then I want to tell you the plan is. The plan is that we spoke to Mandala and we came to an idea where we said that next 3 months, so we are extending, which is my last of Gaggan. That means whatever we've cooked. Now, let's say we've done 600 dishes. Now, I can't do 600 dishes as one menu. So, but I know people love licking my plate, so lick up the plate and shit like that. That really blew people up. Or giving a milkshake in a baby bottle and sucking the nipples out of it, and I got away with it. So, I mean, that time there was no COVID, so everybody was sucking each other's nipples. So, so I mean, I got away with this madness, and I think that will be for 3 months. So April, May, June, we'll lower the numbers of people because we are burnt out. We'll lower the number of people. We want to make money, but at the end, it costs us also mentally and physically. So we want to reduce the number of covers, do a pop-up for last 3 months as Gaggan or Gaggan Anand or whatever you want to call it. And that would be the best of my greatest hits. So the best dishes. So those dishes that you had like in 2014 in Gaggan or 13, it might be there. Then after, in June, we take a break. I'm going to cook in Tomorrowland, have fun, be in Tomorrowland, come back. Then maybe in August, September, I might go back to Bangkok. I don't know what I'm going to do. But I will only cook chef table. That means it's not omakase. I'm not Japanese. It's chef table. It's an experience for 4 hours where you will be saying is the worst meal of your life or the best meal of your life. There's no in between, no gray, no shades of gray.
What is there to do? What new things are there to do in food? Obviously, molecular gastronomy was a huge thing. It's kind of old now, right?
So what I've done is the last thing I did in COVID, one thing happened was I started cooking again. For 10 years, I was studying going away and away and away and away and away from food. More towards interviews, audience like this, cooking here, there, everywhere. And less in my restaurant. But when you are 18 months in the same city, in the same 15 square kilometers, what do? You cook and you cook. And I started cooking more. And then we came up with this idea, which because of my daughter was, we were playing this Star Wars. So there was this lightsaber, fake one, but she beat the fuck out of me. She hit me hard and I said, okay. And I said, listen to me. She was that time 4.5. I said, listen to me, Tara. I will show you how to hit. So I showed her Star Wars. I took the TV, put it on, Blu-ray. She saw the flora. And then there was a scene where they were eating Bantha's milk. It was a blue color milk. I said, shit, there's a food scene there. And then I saw Ray, the character, cooking a bread from powder. I called Rido. I said, Rido, let's do a dish where we put the powder and put the water and it becomes a bread. He says, it's not possible. I called everybody I knew all over the world. Can we do it? He said, no, physically, humans have not been there yet. I said, okay, if humans have not been there, thankfully we are not going there, but can we do it? I called somebody who I knew works in NASA, Harvard Science, everybody. Nobody knew how to do it. It's Star Wars dish. How can we do it? I said, okay. I went to this madness. I started watching Star Wars from the first episode, the first ones, to the Attack of Clones, to everything. I watched it. I watched the director's version, director's cut, took the book, and I took out like there were at least 120 recipes. We started cooking them. So we said, I knew somebody in Disney. I said, can we do a Star Wars menu? He said, do not play the sound, bam, 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 and do not do these 2 things you cannot do, and rest you can do. May the force be with you. You cannot do that. Okay. So the force was not with me, but I started doing a Star Wars menu in Gaggan. And this was April last year, till the Delta variant came in. Before Delta. This is like 2 weeks before Delta was known. We did the Star Wars menu. It sold out completely. It was crazy. We tampered on technology ideas for 10 years that was sitting in my note. We made dishes I can't tell you now. So that thing with Star Wars was the biggest hit we ever did. And nothing looked like Yoda, nothing looked like, it was an experience. No digital, it was all human.
Is it more now, as you go forward in your career, about experience?
Yes.
And less about changing the food?
So
and how does that relate to your music, your fascination with music?
So this was what I was saying is, this Star Wars, we put music, visual, all the senses in one dish. We made, and then we found a eureka moment where we discovered something with food, an experience which we do not find in dining now. That's what we're going to do in future now. Now we are collaborating with Disney. officially. We are collaborating with people. So we will take Harry Potter as a theme and fuck it up. Imagine. So look at this. So we go by it and we'll creativity and nothing will be looking like the character. It's not like you're having a drink in a Star Wars studio. We go imaginary, we go by experience. And my plan is that every 3 months we'll come up with an idea. Work over it. And when we are tired, we'll stop opening it. So we'll do it. So it's a very gangster, old school, underground cooking. That means, I cannot explain you now. It's very difficult for me to explain.
Well, when you were back there in Calcutta and your brother's telecom company and you were serving 5,000 people a day, and you said, look, I hated that. I wasn't a cook anymore. I was a manager of people. Do you risk now moving away from food again towards, it sounds like you're almost an impresario.
No, I think the business sense in me is that I need to have my love. We do everything for love, right? But then we want money. No honey, no money, money, honey is 50-50. It's not even 51-49. In today's world, it's 50-50. And actually, it's more money and more than less honey. But money, honey is equation. So my money part is I'm going to do restaurants where I invest in talent and give talent opportunities and create my financial stability. And even if I don't make money, what I've done is VB, Vladimir, and Rido and me have become like my lawyer, Gaggan and partners. So they can't leave me, I can't leave them. So we fuck up. And we will work on every year how much money we can make and share. And Gaggan and partners will run this Gaggan pop-up or Gaggan restaurant or Gaggan, I don't know what we will call it. But this is the future. So the idea is to tell today that we will be doing last time cooking as a restaurant. And the last time we're doing restaurant is April, May, June. And after that, you will never be able to eat at Gaggan restaurant. You will be only be able to get, if you get, we calculated is only 1,000 seats in 2 months. Okay. Whereas we do 1,000 seats in 3 weeks or 1 week, or I don't know how many seats we do. I don't know. 1,000 seats a week, 2,000 seats a month, and this is 1,000 seats in 2.5 months. Yeah. Yeah. Sorry, it's a 2,000 seats per year per city. By the way, I don't want to tell them everything.
Is it time that we open it to the floor a little bit? There's no microphones, so just shout out your questions if anyone has them. And don't be shy. These things are much better when people ask questions. I can ask questions all day. Have you guys all eaten at the restaurant? There's one.
Have you eaten the current menu? You see, you buy a ticket this week, try to eat it. Your answer's there. Kaya toast, fucked up curry, so many things. Noodles, we've never done a noodles dish. In 11 years, we did a noodle dish in this menu.
Okay.
So all there. You got to experience it, bro. I can't give you the song in our lyrics.
All right, sure. Fair game.
How else has Singapore influenced you? You mentioned earlier the food, but what about the fact that there's a shit ton of rich people here?
I kick them out of my restaurant. Zaran has a tough time. I mean, they need so much attention, and I'm the one who needs more attention than them. So I'm sorry. I mean, only one lion in one jungle. So,
well, you talked earlier about I think you called it "fuck you" money.
Yeah, I mean,
how does that interact with fine dining, and what does that mean for your business?
See, the problem is that rich people don't like to say they don't like the word no. They don't like. They say, I want a table of 6 people. No, I can't do it. Why you can't do it? I want to bring my wine. I don't want to bring my wine. I don't want to bring. You can bring your wife, but not your wine. I mean, but they want to bring the wine. So, and then they bring the wine and put it here and try to put it. And when my waiter comes and tells him, oh, please, can you not put your wine? They're rich. They're rich. They're so rich that they can bring their own wine and put the wine here like this and then put it back. So, But the guy who buys a burger every day, he's not doing that. He's not rich enough to even buy a bottle of wine, but he's not doing that. So this is why I've seen this for the last 12 years. So the first thing I told my first condition is you cannot bring your wine. The only thing you can bring is your wife. You cannot bring your wine because not one, but 5 sommeliers are on the floor. And what is the point of having a sommelier if you have your own wine? You just like good-looking people to serve you wine?
Are you going to get rid of this problem by cooking for smaller groups? Because I guess the rules in the smaller group setting that you're going to enter aren't going to be as strict. They are going to bring their own wine to those settings, perhaps.
Oh,
no, still not?
no. I mean,
What does that look like? What does a small setting look like? You're going to go to people's homes?
I tell you why this came to me. I mean, those who've seen my Netflix, they know where I come from. So one day, a very famous cricketer family in Calcutta, whose wife's mother somehow knew my family and came to my house. Okay, some shit. They're a rich family. They came to my house and she carried her own glass and bottle of water. This is 1994. And I was like, I asked my mom, Mom, why are they bringing their own bottle in their glass? So my mom was trying to tell me, that time I was 16. I said, isn't that so bad, so rude? And she told me that sometimes rich people, they think we are dirty. I said, but Mom, we are not dirty. I studied in English school and we are educated and we are not dirty. But that day I realized I will never allow anybody to bring even anything to my house. Do not bring cakes to my birthday. Do not do anything. Do not. And that day is that trauma carries to my table here today. Like, why would you bring your wine? Why would you bring things? It's like you look down on in Thailand. I'm not telling you, I'm not joking. There are people who will have the audacity to bring their own glasses. And those glasses are so heavy that you will die lifting them up. They're crystal glasses, but they're not crystal enough. So
plus the margins are good on wine you sell too, right?
I mean, the margins are good enough, but I can tell you, if you ask Milan there to talk about wine, I can guarantee you, he will talk about the wine as if the farmer was his boyfriend or girlfriend. I'm sorry about that. But he would talk about that wine for such a long time that you can close your eyes and be in the place where the guy was picking the grapes. And he learned it because he was in that vineyard. He was with that farmer. I don't call him the winemaker. We don't work with winemakers. We work with farmers. So this is why I say, even forget wine. The first thing, I'm a coffee guy. I was talking about coffee with you. I was doing coffee in Chiang Mai last week. And even the first thing that came was to identify who's my coffee roaster in town. I went to Nyland Coffee, spoke to Dennis. I didn't knew him, made my relationship, and made sure that everybody drinks a good cup of coffee. I can guarantee you, my coffee is better than Starbucks.
Impossible. Any more questions? Coco. Microphone.
Okay, so I know music plays a big role in your menus and the way that you cook, just your overall kind of style, right? So I'm curious to know which artist or band even you feel is the most sort of similar to you.
Foo Fighters, Nirvana, Foo Fighters, Nirvana.
But in what way? Like, what is it about
I think it's
them
about Dave Grohl. I still remember when I was a diehard Nirvana fan, and I thought music would end after Nirvana for me. And then he came back and recorded his old album. He played the drums, played the keys, played the guitar. He played the song Big Me. It sounded so shit. Now it sounds so better after 20 years. And this year they spent 27 years of Foo Fighters. And he proved that a drummer of a rock band could become the most famous rock star in the world and still rock and create album every year, which is different from the last album. And that is my biggest inspiration, because for me, when you said to give away my old, when I go to a concert, I'm a fanboy. And when I go to a concert, I want to listen to his greatest hits song, but I want to listen to what's new. And that's exactly what I want to do. I want to live without comfort. Comfort doesn't fascinate me. I could keep doing the yogurt explosion and keep being lazy, but that doesn't fascinate me as a chef. I want to go and explore unknown treasures of life.
And you're a drummer.
I'm a drummer. I am always a drummer. I wanted to be a drummer. I look like a, always I dress up. I said, fuck the jacket. I want to look like a rock star, you know.
Do you like Phil Collins?
I like Phil Collins. I mean, he was great, but sad. I mean, those kind of music is not there anymore. I mean, it's great music. Phil Collins. You like Phil?
Yeah.
Yeah, good.
I don't like to admit it on a microphone, though. More Genesis. Any more questions?
Yeah.
Is the microphone coming?
Yeah. One by one, yeah. It's okay. I can hear you.
Digital publication, so I'm an expert with tech. Just wanted to ask you, you said the balance between money and honey, and how nowadays it's more about money than it even is about honey. So let's say for a moment that you had never to worry about money again, what would be your honey? Your ultimate honey?
Manuka honey from New Zealand. Or my best honey was this. My best honey was in Tanzania, in Kilimanjaro, where we work for Farm Africa, where African women were enforced with security to go and fetch wild honey because they were Maasai trade, by trade and by living, and those Maasai tribe, were, if women go out going honey, some other Maasai will take them and make them their slave wives or being raped. And we, as Farm Africa, that time I volunteered to fund security to them so that they couldn't go wild honey. And that wild honey in Africa, trust me, money can't buy.
Actually, the question was not really specifically about honey.
No, I think it's not. He doesn't know what a metaphor is.
But you answered it really well, and I'll let the people in New Zealand know that you're on your way. That was also, actually, I've just got a bonus out of you, so thank you. But I guess what I was more saying is that if you did have to do something, like if you could experiment in one way or create something without any boundaries and no worry about how much that would financially impact you, what would be the one dream that you feel that you
I'm already
haven't
going to do
fulfilled?
that. The restaurant I'm talking to you will not be financially like it will make 1/4 the money I used to make pre-COVID times. Even if I am full sold out in any restaurant. So I am going to that. That's why we are scared about this self-sacrifice. Is I do not want to make that money. I can sell 70 seats lunch and 70 dinner. Why am I going to do 14 seats only? Think about it. So it's about, I don't want money anymore. I want only honey.
I'll get you a jar from New Zealand, don't worry.
Literally honey. Any more questions? At the back there. Oh, next door. Then at the
I'll
back.
come to you later. Yeah.
Okay. I'm curious about the cuisine that you created. It's been rooted in your hits of Calcutta, from Bangkok. Well, when you talk about now moving to this concept of cloud, of working in different and by taking your inspiration from movies, are you now then moving away from the base of Indian cooking? Not that you're only known for Indian cooking, I completely acknowledge that, but it has kind of been your core. So I'm wondering what happens.
Are you from India?
Yes,
Which part of India?
Delhi.
Okay. What is Indian food for you?
It's a lot of things.
From Delhi. I'm asking from Delhi.
From Delhi, Golgappas.
Golgappas. It's called puchka in my city.
Yes.
Yeah, it's already changed. The problem is India is that it's sad that if I go to India, if you ask me where to eat the best Indian food, I cannot give you. The best Indian food is called chow mein, which is glorified noodles. If you go in front of Taj Mahal, you will find a guy not making you kebab, but doing chow mein or noodles or things like that. So our culture has been so cross-pollinated I wish and I want to do only Indian food, but then there are 3 challenges. One, the skill to do it. You know how difficult it is for Indians to get into this country? Have you gone through the immigration and the questions they ask us? Why you are here? First is that, skill. 2, ingredients. Exactly from that core part of it. Because if I want to do it, I don't want to adulterate it. And thirdly, whether you were exposed to that. How many of us knew sushi? If there's somebody who's here with some gray hair, I want to ask you, when did you last eat a sushi? First eat sushi, sorry. It's not before you were 25 or 20 if you're not Japanese. We do not get things like, okay, how many of us does not like durian here? Does not like durian. So many of us already do. I hate durian. I hate it. I will never put it on my menu. So the same problem is with my culture. What could be my culture could be a curse to someone on my restaurant. That's why I don't force my culture as a curse to someone. I rather twist it, turn it, put that pani puri on a middle finger, and made him suck it and say, wow. But when you put it, because when he eats the real pani puri, which you said in Delhi, you live. Golgappa, you like to say, what the fuck was that? That fucking frowny face is exactly what I do it with my middle finger, but I twist it around. So I do it in quantums that can people hear. The question, I think there was.
Thank you. I have a question about your staff, your family, your tribe. I don't know what you call them. How do you pick them? Do they come to you? What do you find? What do you see in them that wants you to hire them, or how does it work? And what kind of mentor are you? A mentor? What kind of mentor are you?
I have an asylum, and it's an asylum of mad people. I want to be bald, but I can't be as good as him because I want to be like the Professor X, and I don't want to be on a wheelchair. So it's almost like a Professor X. I get those people who are unwanted. Where's Milan? I should not use him as a victim, but I'll tell you what he has a boyfriend in this city. If he goes back to Croatia, he cannot have a boyfriend. He's the best sommelier. He's never got a sommelier cross, training, nothing. He has no allocates to show he's a sommelier, but he will beat the fuck out of any sommelier in knowledge. That's the talent I hire. I give people a choice in life to live freely with freedom. Today, we live in a society where everything is judged. I like people not to be judged in my restaurant as my team. Rest, we know how to cook.
Anyone else? Back over there.
So when you're cooking for less people in the future, doesn't that make it more exclusive and less accessible to the non-fuck you money?
100%. Agreed. Those who book it first will get it first. And if you booked it, you cannot book it more than 2 people or 3 people. So already that's a big fuck you. Thirdly, if you've booked it, you cannot come back. So that's a 4th for you.
Ever? To any other pop-up?
Probably if I'm really bankrupt, then I need the money back, then fine. Otherwise, I don't. I cannot say that, but imagine that we are doing, let's say, okay, you want to hear more? We've figured it out on numbers. It's 1,188 seats per year. That means I'll be only in 3 months in a city. And then I'll go to Bangkok, then I'll go to Japan, then I'll go to, I don't know where. Depends on COVID and things like that. But we will not give it, it's not a private table. So not a billionaire can come say, Gaggan, I offer you 5 times the money, but make this 18 seats as my seats. No. Max you can book, so it's 4 people. We're trying to cap off those max. I don't want to say, because some who are billionaires or rich with fuck you money is also a foodie. I want a foodie. It's not about your financial status. And it's not about how you are.
Where will this be happening?
Should I tell it?
Oh, I mean, talk generally. Would it be in a private home or in a place?
I think we are creating 3 studios. One studio is in Singapore, where you are sitting right now. Okay, here. So it's going to be here. We'll completely lock it out. So we've come in an understanding with Mandala Club that we'll only open it for 2.5 months in a year. And we'll probably do a session probably this year or next year, we don't know, because it'll take time to construct. That's why we are lastly doing the last Gaggan cooking is going to happen here. No more yogurt explosions, no more all that. So it's all going to happen for next 3 months and then over. No more. It's game over. Then we'll come out with this Gaggan experience, which will be here, Bangkok, every year, once in here, once in Bangkok. One could be in LA, one could be in Coachella, one could be in Japan, we don't know. One could be in Sydney. It's completely open. And if the whole world is come with a new variant, Russian variant, then then probably we'll do in Singapore. We don't know. But as of now, it's a cloud, and I know my schedule till April next year. We have one session in Singapore.
Any more questions? Lady at the back.
Hi. In the lead up to International Women's Day, I guess I wanted to ask a bit more about, well, I'm Indian as well, I'm Punjabi, and so much of the food in our culture, or just Indian food in general, is cooked by women, and our recollection and our memories of that kind of food, you know, is passed down through generations through women, and it's still cooked by them, you know, at home, often unpaid. So I kind of wanted to get your views about women, particularly Indian.
Like my mom, like your
yeah,
mom. Okay,
yeah.
I get your point.
Chefs who are able to, you know, be at that level of innovation and that sort of thing. It doesn't seem like there's that much equity in being able to get female, particularly in the Indian food scene, to be able to, you know, at this sort of level, and what
I
can be
gave
done
Garima a chance and made her a best Indian female chef in the world, and I did that. I hired as many Indians. I bought a girl from New York, convinced her to leave 11 Madison Park, leave Le Bonadon, and join me in this pop-up. Her name is Nikita. I try as much talent I can. I do not look at talent as men or women. I do not think women have better hand or men have better hands. I give equal opportunity to as many women and men, or gays or transvestites or whatever they are, or whatever color they are. But yes, I understand that, and that's a problem in India.
Yeah.
Where we are stigmatic to Indian men who want our women to be so-called house slaves, desperate housewives.
Yeah.
So that's an Indian. My wife knows how to cook my mother's dish.
Yeah.
That's a Indian men problem, and we need to address that in Indian social circle.
Okay, I'm
not
so
a
glad
global
you said that.
Why don't you talk a little bit about why you hate Michelin stars?
I don't hate them. It's just like, I always tell them, I didn't hate them when I got the first time. The second time they gave me a star, they forgot to put the jacket that I am XXL or XL. They gave me a small jacket. And if they gave me 2 stars, then the inspector did not realize how big I was as a person. So, I mean...
But I've seen quotes, I think in the New York Times, where you say, I'm not making food for tires. I gave a verse what happened. I spoke at South China Morning Post, and I told about this. See, I'm telling you, I'm not against any award. My problem with Michelin was that it's a French jury judging Asians. And are they doing justice? Because I don't see any Indian inspector judging my food from India. If I have put a flavor or ingredient, the judge or the jury would not even be able to catch what I put inside, because they don't belong from my part of my life. I mean, it's like, would a Japanese sushi chef allow Indian inspectors to judge sushi? I can talk about sushi for 5 hours. I can guarantee you that. But would you allow? Would a Japanese chef respect me? So what needs to happen? There needs to be a new standard which Asian food can be judged by.
I think I tried to explain them. They didn't understand. And I think I had to be vocal. And for me, my life is done. Why I'm doing this 18 seats is I don't want to depend on a Michelin star. I see how many chefs are cooking only what Michelin wants them to cook. To serve the food from this direction, the bread has to come this way. Korean chefs, Asian chefs have become French cuisine more than Asian cuisine. Is because we are bent towards that award and insecure. And I wanted to create that awareness in young chefs. So don't be scared. You can open a 10-seat restaurant and don't bank on an award and still do what you want to do. COVID has taught us that. And that's the reason why I'm doing this 18 seats, is because I will never be bent upon, forget Michelin star, forget 50 best. I will never have to do things to please others. I will not play your song. I will not play what you want me to do. I will only do what I want, and I think that is good for me to give you an experience. That is my confidence, and that is my art, and that is my philosophy, my soul.
I think we have time for one or two more. We're running up against the hour. Gentleman in the white shirt. And then we'll take one more.
Hi, so I've been to your restaurant in Bangkok and also in Singapore here. I have to say I love the menu here a lot more because we get to see your personality through your food and your menu. But sounds like in the future you'll be working with Disney and then have, based on the movie themes, then would you be risking losing part of you or your personality just by nature?
Currently it's movie. It could be anything. It could be an album from Foo Fighters. It could be best of Beatles. It could be 10 best songs. It could be plants.
No
I don't
jacket
know.
required.
Yeah, I personally, I'm not putting, this is current. Then it could be anything. I'm telling you for next 10 years, I'm going to do what I might be doing Japanese food. A season only in Japanese food. Have you ever eaten Japanese food by me? Have you seen a Japanese curry from me? I fucking bet you. My Japanese curry will beat the cocoa curry or anybody else. It's not good. But what I'm saying is Japanese as have you eaten Japanese food from my hand? Nobody, no? No, see?
A 2-star Michelin chef just said that he can cook better than Coco Curry House.
My Japanese curry, my Japanese curry. Because I've gone to the land where the positioning of Japanese curry started and how it ended up being a curry. Because I was curious, how the fuck that thing that doesn't look like curry tastes like curry? I was curious. How did the Japanese curry look like a British pot of food?
Is it the Silk Road?
Yeah.
Is it because of the Silk Road? Is that how curry got?
No. It was because of 2 naval officers who fucked up. The British and the Japanese naval were drunk and they gave the curry and they said this is in the early 19th century when they were the British Empire was the most strongest naval army. Japanese were still coming out of their restriction zone. That time they didn't have no world wars. And they said, can you improve us because Russia is going to take us over. In Hokkaido, they did an exercise. They gave the curry by the Indian cook in the naval base of, and that's how they got the whiskey. That's how they got. All the British gave them everything. They gave them a curry. They wanted to sell them weapons, but they also wanted to sell them Madras curry powder by British India Company Limited in year 1910. But they forgot to teach them how to make a curry. They taught them how British pot of food, and to that they added the curry powder. But the Japanese perfected the recipe to make the curry you have today. Because when you cook it, it's not a curry. But when you eat it, it's a fucking curry.
One more question.
Hi.
Hi.
Out of interest, how do you approach your vegetarian and vegan menus?
Vegan is a fad. What is vegan? Tell me. Explain me.
Exactly like vegetarian, but just no dairy.
You know how unsustainable is a vegan leather towards a real leather?
But that's a lifestyle. I'm talking about vegan food, not
Because
vegan
vegan is a
lifestyle.
trend. It's nothing to do with food. It's
No,
a
but
fad.
vegan food options, not
No,
like.
you can be lactose intolerant. You can be different intolerant. Scientifically, vegan is nothing. Vegan is a fad. I'm being very honest. I'm lactose intolerant. I understand what I'm talking about. Being vegan doesn't save animals. Being vegan, what is the reason why we become vegan? Is it a trend? Or is it really a religion? Which religion is vegan? Then why India drinks milk? So there's nothing called vegan as a thing. I do not believe in veganism. If I'm lactose intolerant, I'll take 10 other options of milk. I do not believe in vegan. That's why I'm anti-vegan.
That's a very bold statement.
Yes, I am. I'm telling in front of 50 people how bold you want me to be.
I have one final comment of my own, question of my own, because I don't want to talk about veganism anymore.
One second. I'll correct you. Please don't put me wrong. Vegetarian, we
Yeah.
take it very seriously. Because my mom is a vegetarian. And every vegetarian dish looks like the person sitting opposite as a non-veg dish. That's what we've done in here. We do not give a vegetable alternative. We create a dish and texture. Taste, you can't. But if there's a caviar, there's something looking like a caviar on the other side also. If there is a brain, there's something looking like a brain on the other side also. If there's a scallop, we made sure the turnip looks like a scallop. But again, going to veganism, vegan is, I'm sorry, I don't believe that philosophy.
So my final question for you, you do not lack confidence, as we saw in your answer to the question about veganism. And you said earlier something I think is fascinating, and everyone's probably wants you to end with this. You said you lost confidence when you came here. You didn't know how to cook anymore, right? We all have our persona for people out there, our confident persona. You're a chef, you're a star chef. You have your own, your episode of Chef's Table about you. But you have an inside, you had a feeling that you'd lost it, or you couldn't do it, or you had to come back?
Well, two things happened last April, which really changed my life. One was, actually, when I gave my New York Times interview, so December 2020, Michelin star announced its list in COVID times without any inspection in Thailand. And we didn't get a star. And because, of course, I didn't like the tires. And so they called my restaurant, they put me in the book, and they called it industrial restaurant. And then there was this foodie chef community in Thailand saying, Gaggan is over because he likes to open his jacket. That's why they didn't give him a star. Okay. So I said, okay. And as things happened till April, I was feeling that I'm not wanted in this society anymore, or my food is not good enough, or everybody thought that I'm over. And that's exactly when I came to Singapore, and when the things sold out, I said, I'm not over yet. I still have something in me. And we are not sportsmen, we are chefs. We cook better as we age. We do not, it's like a whiskey. A whiskey that is 1 year old and a whiskey that is 40-year-old are two different whiskeys from the same maker. So if I cook today, after my 4 vaccines and a COVID, my taste buds are better. So I think I will be cooking better food in the next 5 years or 10 years. And I want to just make sure that I give it to a person who doesn't want to come there for fame, but want to enjoy. Even being vegan will get the good food. I do not kick vegan out. I do not understand the philosophy. Again, don't put me wrong anywhere on social media. Okay. I'm not a Russian, I'm an Indian.
I think it's being recorded, Gaggan. You're in trouble.
I'm always in trouble, but it's okay.
Anyway, we can't wait to see what you come up with next. It's going to be a fascinating ride. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for coming to this event. And I'm sure we're all going to follow Gaggan's career from here on in.
Thank you guys for coming. Thank you. Thank you. No clap, please don't. Enjoy.